Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video, the last one of 2024, if you don't count the live stream this evening, thought I'd take a bit of a look, a poking at a few of the nonsensical things that a collection of Tories have been coming out with pretty much today that's attracted my attention today, including how Lee Anderson still seems to be supporting his old Conservative Party, how Tory Brexiteers are looking at the EU with a little bit of envy, and how quite a few on the right wing are really upset that someone who isn't white got a knighthood. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So 2024, it's been a funny year. We've ended it with a government which is actually taking the job of governing seriously. I just wish they would take the politics seriously as well. But almost as if to demonstrate just how unserious the previous government were. Some of its cheerleaders and champions have been demonstrating just how silly they are. I blame the decline in the circus, really. That's where it all went wrong. See, there was a time when these people would have been entertaining us by taking cream pies to the face. But now that you don't have as much demand for a travelling circus, they have to get jobs in politics. Maybe when Lee Anderson talks about wanting his country back, this is what he means. A time when clowns were clowns and we could leave politics to vaguely sensible people. And speaking of Lee Anderson, did you know he's still promoting the Conservative Party? I had to record it just in case he cottons on and has changed it. But the Reform Party UK exposed Twitter account, brilliant. If you're still on Twitter, absolutely follow it if you want to know what Reform UK are up to. Well, they pointed out that Lee Anderson has a website in his email signature. And you think, well, there's nothing unusual about that. Very common for MPs to have a website where they promote what they're up to, what they're going to be up to. Absolutely makes sense. But if you type this website into your URL bar, you get something a little surprising. I was surprised. Assuming it hasn't changed when you read this, give it a go. leeanderson.org.uk takes you to the Conservative Party website. Now, what's going on here? Lee Anderson not doing his housekeeping. Or, like, let's say, I'm trying to imagine Nigel Farage finding out about this and deciding to ask his chief whip, because, you know, Lee Anderson is the chief whip for Reform UK. Why is your website promoting the Conservatives, our opponents? Is Lee Anderson going to say, oh, Kevin Badenoch must have hacked it? Quite incredible to think. Lee Anderson may actually provide more opportunities for ridicule than I think any MP I can in history. Like, even Chris Grayling and Nadine Dorries weren't this hapless. I also hear Lee Anderson has some latest culinary advice out. Then there's the way the right wing are still anguishing over the application of VAT on private school fees. Now, just remember, if someone talks to you about the outrage of VAT on private school fees, just tell them that Labour couldn't possibly have done it. Would have been illegal. Couldn't have done it if we were still EU members. Not that it's a Brexit benefit as such, because I'd happily accept retaining this particular tax break for the rich in return for an extra 40 to 50 billion pounds in extra tax revenues every single year to better fund public services. In fact, the same applies to the decision to means test winter fuel payments, apply inheritance tax on farms, wouldn't be needed if we didn't leave the EU. And the people chiefly complaining about all of these policies belong to demographics who supported Brexit, either directly in 2016 or by allowing Boris Johnson the majority he needed to drive it home in 2019. Now, I appreciate not everyone affected and upset by these policies supported Brexit, but we're a democracy and the majority of your demographic did. But it's also worth reflecting on the way the right react to certain things, because they've really gone to town. It's not just that they've written a few pieces going, look, we don't like this VAT tax and aspiration and all that, and then left it there. It's on and 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 on. And so the absolute nerve of taxing the rich never fails to get them into a frenzy. In fact, take a step back and just look at what outrageous figures on the right and the left of politics. I don't mean individual characters, I mean as a whole. Like, what is guaranteed to trigger people on the right and what is guaranteed to trigger people on the left? And don't get me wrong, there are plenty of arseholes on the left. But just look at the main triggers. The left become outraged when people are plunged into poverty. not able to access healthcare, when vulnerable refugees are treated very badly, when people are treated more harshly by the law because of the colour of their skin or their gender, or because they held up a sign in silent protest. What triggers the right wing, though? What is absolutely guaranteed to trigger the right wing? Taxing people who have lots of money, building houses where people want to live, moving towards more environmentally friendly technologies so that the human race can actually survive into the next century. Now, I appreciate that right and left is about economic ideas, and none of these things is strictly speaking about left or right. But there are a hell of a lot of people on the right who only seem to get triggered when the already rich and powerful are inconvenienced. And a hell of a lot of people on the left who are angered when the most vulnerable people are killed, oppressed, or left to live in severe distress. Maybe people would like to think about that. You know, when people tell me, for example, to stop complaining about Brexit, do they never ask themselves why I complain about Brexit? I don't like travelling, so the loss of freedom of movement doesn't personally impact me at holiday time. Don't go on holiday. I can afford to pay the higher prices. I haven't been put out of business because of the collapse of supply chains. I've not lost my job because my employer's business had to shut down due to the same thing. I can weather the storm of Brexit. In fact, it gives me lots to talk about, let's be honest. I complain about it because I have empathy enough to feel for all those whose lives have been ruined. And it's not even like some lost and others won, because that often happens in politics. No, the only people who gained from Brexit are those who were already rich, and they would have remained rich with or without Brexit. It didn't help those who supported it but aren't rich. Like Jonathan Gullis, he still can't get a job, I notice. He's been whining about that this week. He didn't care about the people whose livelihoods he destroyed with Brexit. But ever since losing his seat, he's spent all his time fishing for sympathy about how he's written all these applications, still can't get a job. But always remember that when Tories like Gullis are talking about those on low incomes, and especially the unemployed, if you have the nerve to complain that you're poor, they say it's because you're lazy. Well, if a privately educated former MP can't get a job, doesn't that mean Gullis, by his own creed, is just admitting to laziness when he whines he can't get a job? Then finally, there's the New Year's honours list. Always creates a reaction. I will remind people, because I guarantee there'll be... Is it actually even possible to look at the New Year's honours list and go, yeah, everyone's fine, or none of them are fine? Everyone always looks at them and go, yeah, I approve of those people getting it, and I don't approve of those. Well, don't sweat it. The honours system is anything but honourable. It has its roots in feudal patronage. For people who were good, let's remember what people originally got honours for. It was for people who were good at murdering for the king. I had to laugh when I saw a comment piece. Can't remember what it was now. I didn't read it. I just saw the headline. Wondering, when did the honours system start to be used as a political weapon? It's like, mate, they were literally invented many centuries ago as a political weapon. It has ever been thus. I don't know where people picked up on this idea that honours were just for good people. Sure, it's nice when good people or people that society at large generally agrees are good, unifying figures we might say, get them. That's brilliant. But there's never been a time when honours were chiefly used to reward honourable people or honourable actions. But you have to laugh at the Tories today because they're whining. You'd think there'd be a few figures on there they don't like. Gareth Southgate, it is too weak, but they're not having a pop at him. No, Sadiq Khan getting a knighthood. Oh, they're singling him out. Wonder what that's about. They say it's a reward for failure. The Tories and the Tory press saying the same thing, which basically shows they read from the same memos. Oh, it's a reward for failure. Oh, really? Failure? He's won 3 consecutive elections as Mayor of London. He's a very experienced politician. I mean, let's remind ourselves of some of the others who've received knighthoods in recent times. Jacob Rees-Mogg. What was that for? What did he ever achieve? Ian Duncan Smith, same thing. What are his actual achievements? What has he done? As Adam Bienkov of Byline Times noted, Sean Bailey was given a seat in the House of Lords. What's his claim to fame? He stood against Sadiq Khan for the Mayor of London election and lost. That's all he's famous for. So if the loser gets a seat in the House of Lords, What's the big deal giving the winner a lesser honour? So yes, all in all, the Tories seem to be ending 2024 like they began. Deeply unserious, no real idea what to do to persuade the public otherwise. And long may their irrelevance continue. Preferably forever, but I'm not that optimistic. What I am confident about, however, is they're not going to actually rebuild with a leader who doesn't believe in sandwiches. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.